Hi there, Jen Viviant, QHHT Practitioner, Level 3. I love doing this work. It's Dolores Cannon's hypnosis style, and I have found nothing like it. So thank you for showing up and being interested. Here today, I want to talk about the post-session. You've had your QHHT session. What next? What do I do now with all this information? My practitioner told me I was going to have months of information to work with, and I'm supposed to put the pieces together with my recording and what I remember and how I feel and all the next steps. Okay, so first of all, take a big breath and understand that this doesn't all have to happen right now, okay? Your higher self is working with you, and it's really wanting to have that direct communication with you all the time. So now that you've experienced some aspects of that in your session, I can't speak to that specifically because each person has a unique connection and a unique experience with connecting to the higher consciousness. So you will need to look in closely at what was the nature of your connection with your higher self. That alone can give you information about what is going on and what is necessary for your next steps forward. For example, a really quick example, sometimes people feel like they might be not going under, and then finally they give up and they're under and they're having all these great experiences. And the higher self later confirms that really you just needed to trust. See all this information you get when you trust, that sort of thing. So how do you work with that type of information? This stuff's pretty simple, but sometimes it takes a little bit of creativity to figure out ways, right, to work with it. So let's say this, like I like to make up ideas, so this is fun. Let's say you need to trust, and I'll go back to that example, right? Okay, so I need to trust. How do I trust? Or how am I going to get better at trusting? Okay, go with something low stakes to begin with, first of all. Like, don't say to yourself, okay, I got to figure out where I'm going to move to. Higher self, what's the best location for me to move? That is not the first question to start with. That's a big question, right? So give yourself some time to practice and get used to the feeling that you get when you get an affirmative and when you get a negative, so that you can start getting connected with that. You might want to close your eyes and ask the question, for example, and see where your body feels something. I know that for me, like if I have a yes, there's a certain kind of lightness that I feel in my chest, in my heart space. And if there's something I'm really not looking forward to because I know that it's going to be a hard lesson, I feel like my stomach kind of drop a little bit. That kind of thing, I'm sure that's actually, for a lot of people, this is true. But go really deep for yourself. Some people have different types of body reactions. And sometimes people see things differently, or feel things differently. So this is where you practice finding out what you're going to get. Okay, try this. Let's say you know for sure that you got mail today, like a physical piece of mail. You know it's there. Go with this first and say to yourself, close your eyes, say, did I get a piece of mail today? What's the feeling you got just then, like that very first thing? What was the feeling? What did I have for breakfast? I hope that you had something you liked, because what will I have tomorrow for breakfast? And then say the same thing that you had today, say it tomorrow and see what it feels like. Okay, I had a bagel for breakfast today. I'm having a bagel again tomorrow for breakfast. Well, I'm not going to have a bagel because I ran out of bagels. And I felt a little sinking feeling in my stomach just then, about brushing your teeth, daily hygiene, or about reading a book, or about writing something down. So I'm going to leave that there for you to play with. And let's say that you want to do a little bit more reflection about your session. Like maybe you need to step back for a second. Like, I'm not really ready to try these things out. Okay, I need to think. I need to feel. I need to work with this. Okay, I get that. So take a step back. What are ways that you can take a step back? Lots of practitioners recommend, and I do too, whatever you normally do, if you are a journaler, then make sure that you journal. If you're somebody with dreams that like dreams come through and they give you information, make sure to make note of those. If you're somebody who likes to walk and it clears your mind, go for a walk, and you might even think of a couple questions in advance to ask yourself while you're on that walk. I know plenty of practitioners. I know Suzanne Spooner actually first suggested this, and I've been doing it ever since, that when you go to sleep at night, ask yourself a question. Ask high self, I need answers to this sort of thing. What information can you provide? Do you see how I asked that question in an open-ended way? There's no extra stuff. Let's just keep that a really important element of checking in with your high self so that you can get the most detail that your higher self wants to show you or give you without you adding extra elements to the question. Okay? Be patient with yourself. Be kind with yourself. This is going to be a process, and it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel like, gee, I don't know what to do today. It's get yourself a cup of tea, relax, take a big breath, yoga, meditate, whatever it is that helps you kind of bring down that energy. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So give it some time to settle and allow the information to come in at the pace that it wants to come in. All right. I can be a mile a minute, but I can also be really slow paced. And I think that it's important when you recognize that you're feeling too much to take a breath and remind yourself you can slow down. It is okay to slow down. Your thoughts don't have to be that fast. You do have to make a decision to say that to yourself. Okay, so we talked about those things. So going into how to apply what came through for your session. So you're probably going to notice some key themes. All right. It might be emotions to be aware of, or it might be actions to take, or it might be people who significantly affect you one way or another. Whatever those key themes are, spend some time with that. And that's where the healing is. That's what your higher self wanted you to know. And in order to make sure that you got the point, you probably got it more than once. I've seen sessions where the same point was emphasized maybe 6 or 7 times, and maybe a couple of other things were sprinkled in, but it was just mainly this one big one. And that's fine. That's really, really fine. So again, there's no 2 sessions that are the same. There's many types of QHHT sessions as there are humans. And so there's no means or reason to judge your session. You can get something from it, no matter what. And moving forward from that, once you've taken some time to reflect, you've maybe practiced a little bit, you've identified what your themes, what was really important for you to pay attention to, set some intentions. Your high self already helped you a bunch, and probably your practitioner made sure that your high self told you what the next steps are. So that's your launch pad. Okay. All right. I hope this helps. Please reach out if you have questions. JenViviant.com.